Hey guys, we are live. I am just going to wait a few minutes to allow my guest speaker to hop on and to allow some other watchers to hop on as well before we get started. So we'll take a few seconds. Hope everybody's having a great Sunday and you are resting up for, should I even mention tomorrow? But I hope you guys are having a good Sunday. So we are gonna wait until my guest speaker hops on. Hey Lolo. Hey Sissy. So I see some people are hopping on. Thank y'all so much for being here. I am waiting on my guest speaker to hop on. Since I already have you guys on here, I want to go ahead and just kind of thank you for hopping on with us today. I know it's Sunday. I know you could be doing other things. And so we really, really appreciate you. And thank you for stopping by my page to hear, I call her Tink, but to hear Anitris' story. She has an amazing story. She's from my hometown. You definitely don't want to miss what she has to say and what she has to share. So while I am waiting on her to jump on, I'll go ahead and get started with just the beginning of what I want to say and what I would like to share with you. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And as you may also know, I recently had my own women's health issues, and due to that, I founded L.Hollins S.P.E.A.K.S. And so with that, my mission is to not only share my story and reach out to other women by sharing my story, but to also educate and to spread the importance of women's health issues. And so by doing that, I am using my platform to not just tell my story, but to allow other women to tell their stories as well and to share their journeys, because I truly believe that sharing is caring, and I truly believe that by us sharing our story, we are able to help the next person. We're able to make their journey a little bit better. And so I thank you so much for being here. Before I introduce my guest speaker, I want to run some statistics by you really quick. So 1 in 8 women are expected to develop breast cancer in their lifetime. So if you're at a family function, if you are out with your girls, if you're out with 8 people and 8 of you are in the room, if you look around, at least one of you are expected to develop breast cancer in your lifetime. Not only that, breast cancer is diagnosed every 29 seconds all over the world, every 2 minutes in the United States. So it is being diagnosed at a rapid rate and at a rapid pace. And so what can you do about it? You can get mammograms, you can get breast exams. It is recommended that if you are of average risk, that you get mammograms at the age of 40, starting at the age of 40. And if you are of higher risk, if someone in your family, an immediate family member, mom, sister, if you have the breast cancer gene, it is recommended that you start getting those exams, those mammograms, by the age of 30. I do recommend that you talk with your provider and that you come up with the best option for you and your body. But I definitely wanted to share those things with you. I wanted you to have a little bit of insight on how breast cancer is affecting us as women and how it's affecting us all over the world. So my guest speaker is here. She's hopped on. So I am going to invite her to the conversation, and I'm going to give her the floor and let her share her story with you. So bear with me while I do that. Her name is Anitris Robinson. She is from my hometown, and she is a breast cancer survivor, okay? Hey, Tink.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good on this Sunday evening.
I know. Thank you so much for joining me and for being willing to share your story with us.
You're
I
welcome.
have I have promoted this all week, and so I am really excited to have you. And without further ado, I want to give you the floor and give you the opportunity to tell your story to everyone and
Oh, wow.
introduce yourself. If there's more you want to say about yourself, please do.
Okay. Well, most people know who I am. My name is Anitris Robinson. I'm from Mendenhall, Mississippi, and I have been fighting breast cancer for a little over 3 years now. And I heard you say earlier about going to the doctor, going to get your mammograms and going to get, early detection is the key. And that is true in most instances. But for me, I did not get a chance to get a mammogram. I found out that I was 20 weeks pregnant with my third child, and I began to get sick and have pains in my sides, thinking that it was from the pregnancy. My son at the time was 8 and my daughter was 6. And so I'm thinking that 6 years after 6 years after having my last child, that this was just, normal pregnancy sickness. But it kept going. It didn't get any better. I kept feeling weak, couldn't do anything for myself, couldn't do anything for my kids, anybody. And that went on from June 2016 until September. When September rolled around, I kept going to my doctor and telling her something was just not right with me. They checked the baby, they checked my uterus, everything seemed to be fine. And she decided to hospitalize me to run some tests. And she did. And when she ran the test, they found some lesions on my spine and my liver. And she said, okay, this has to be coming from somewhere. And she
Mm-hmm.
said, well, have you felt a lump on your breast? And I was like, nah, and she had just did the pregnancy exam on me in August of 2016, and so she didn't find anything then. But September rolled around, and when I was hospitalized, there was the lump. And so I didn't get a chance to get a mammogram or anything like that. It's just she found it, and they immediately sent me to UMC, because at River Oaks they are just the baby doctors. They don't do biopsies and all of that for cancer. And
Right.
when I got there, immediately they wanted me to terminate my pregnancy, because at that time I was 20 weeks pregnant, and they
Mm-hmm.
wanted me to get rid of him, gave me a choice. I took the choice of going ahead and with the pregnancy. They did biopsies and everything, and they found out from that it was stage 4 breast cancer. And so like when you said about the health, I meant the mammograms. I didn't get a chance to even get a mammogram. And at that time, I was 36 years old. Hadn't had a mammogram. I did my annual, but I never did a mammogram. So that's how my breast cancer was found, by being pregnant, 20 weeks pregnant. And the crazy thing about it is, they told me that if I had not gotten pregnant, then I would have known the cancer would have just been sitting in my body, because, back then they were telling you that you had to be 40 years old before you can get a mammogram. Well, I wasn't but
Exactly.
36. So
Right.
it would have been sitting in my body unless I started showing symptoms of being sick. Then they would have probably went on and did one. But I was 36, and so it could have been just sitting in my body for those years had I not gotten pregnant. And what happened was, when I got pregnant, the lump that was in my breast, my hormones, when you get pregnant, your hormones go all over the
Mm-hmm.
place. And it started when my hormones started racing or whatever from being pregnant. The um cancer that was in the lump went to my bloodstream. And when it went to my bloodstream, by the time they found it, it was in my organs. It was in my lungs. It was in my liver, my spine, my bones. It was just everywhere. It was metastatic when they found it, because all of that had gone on with my body. And so far, I mean, it came, it goes, it come, it goes. The devil, he'll throw tricks in your mind, saying that you're not gonna make it. Because I was literally, according to the doctors, I was dying because my calcium level was so high. That's why I was so sick. Didn't know that it was cancer. And so by the time they found it, my cancer level was 17.9, and the normal is 7 or 8. And so they had to even give me a treatment um to get the calcium level down because that they had never tried on humans. They only tried it on
Wow.
animals. And I had to do it because either I was gonna, that was a Friday, they told me, either I took that treatment or by that Monday I wouldn't be here because my calcium level had went through the roof. But they told me that it would affect the baby, but it didn't. But they had never tried this treatment on humans, only on animals. And so after that, they tried to find a treatment. They was trying to find all kind of things to do, and they finally came up with a regimen. I had 5 treatments before I had Joseph. He was born January the 19th, 2017, just as healthy as he can be. And so far, I've had 43 rounds of treatment. That's just chemo alone. I've had 14, um, not major, 14 brain radiation treatments because in November of 2017, right before Thanksgiving, they found some lesions on my brain and they were trying to get them out as soon as possible because they didn't detect them in my previous scans. And so they just popped up and they had to get rid of them within 14 days. And I went through that. Everything seemed fine. And then I went through some more chemo until September of 2018, and then in January it showed up again um in my other breast. And it was the receptors were different in my right breast. So they were like they were going to go ahead and just, remove them to remove the cancer. They removed the cancer, and then um February I went back for my checkup, and they found that I was, they said we got it all and everybody was happy. It was February the 14th. So I was just like, God showed me some mad love on that day, for Valentine's
Exactly.
Day. But in March the 5th, I rang the bell, and we were also just excited about what God had done because, I was on my deathbed, and to be able to walk in the hospital and the clinic and they tell you you're cancer free, that was a real, 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 real exciting moment. Well, they wanted me to do some radiation on my right side where the new cancer was. They wasn't really too much worried about the left side. And I went through 6 weeks of radiation on my right side every day except for Saturday and Sunday for 6 weeks. And I went May the 9th. I went for my last treatment, and that following Tuesday, they did a scan and found that it had come back just that fast around my liver and my spine. And so they put me back on Herceptin and Perjeta, which is an antibody. It's not really considered as chemo. And I went through that. And recently, probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I found out that I had a spot under my left arm and my lymph node that they're trying to shrink or, decrease the cancer activity so it won't spread. And so that's where I am now with my cancer, still fighting, still holding on, still keeping the faith. Have major support from my friends and my family. I have my friends and my family have did a Pink for Tink page that some people follow, for support and everything. And so that has been my journey, and I'm not ashamed of my journey. Never in a million years did I ever think mm, that I would be in this position that I'm in. But I'm just thankful to God because a lot of people that going through, they don't make it out. And I just feel like that the things that I'm going through is for God's glory, and that I can help somebody else who's going through, because a lot of people give up and they
Yeah.
don't fight. But I'm in this thing, and it's like every time I take 5 steps forward, something knocks me down with it. But it's like I have a friend, my one of my best friends named Katrina Rouse. She always tells me the God caught it. And so every time I go and they find something, it's just the way of God catching it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I
Yeah.
pray and ask God to keep me here, especially to see my children grow up and have families of their own. And I just believe that he was going to grant me
I believe it too.
that.
I really do. And I thank you for sharing all of that with us. I know that it's not easy to have these conversations, but you know the importance of it, and so I just appreciate that. I can't say that enough. I
Yeah.
do want to. Your story gave me chills, but I mean your faith is relentless. It really is,
Mhm.
and I think as long as you have that, and as long as you are continuing to stay in these good spirits, that, like your friend says, God is going to keep catching it. He's going to keep
Yes,
catching it.
yes,
And I feel
yes.
like your son, I know you mentioned earlier that you were told if you were not pregnant, that the cancer would have just been in your body, you would have not
Mhm.
known. And so I
Mhm.
truly believe that your son is a blessing
Oh
as
yeah.
well.
I call him my
So
little hero.
he literally saved your life.
Yes, he did. He did, and he's asleep right now. I would bring him on, but he's knocked out. But he's truly, and I know it's something of God because he's totally different from my other two children when they were growing up. And I just really believe that God had something special for him because he fought as well because they wanted to wait a couple of months after I was pregnant with him to start treatment, but I was already in bad shape, and so they were like, it wasn't no sense in waiting. So
Right.
I did 5 treatments, of harsh chemo while I was pregnant with him, but and he beat all the odds too because they told me that he would be in the NICU and this and that, but God worked a miracle. He didn't have a wrinkle in his skin. He was almost 6 pounds, and nothing
Did
was
he
wrong
spend a
with him.
day in NICU?
No,
Not a day.
all the thing different that we had to do was I wasn't able to see him for 24 hours because they like thoroughly checked him to make sure, that he was okay. But other than that, I had him on a Thursday and we went home on a Sunday. And he had a little touch of jaundice and they had to put him under the light. Other than that,
Mhm.
nope, he
Healthy.
was fine. He was fine.
Well,
Yep.
that is a testament to what God can do right there.
Right,
I mean,
right. He's
really,
a
it
miracle
is.
worker. Yes, yes, indeed. Yep.
So
But
I would like for you, if there's anything that you want to say to women that may be going through this, or women who are at high risk for breast cancer, or even just women who are at average risk like me, who we don't nobody in my family that I know of has had breast cancer, but I know that it's still important for me to do all of the things to catch it early, or these preventative measures or early detection measures. So what would you
Mhm.
say, or if anything would you say to women out there?
Well, first, like I said earlier in the video, I didn't get a chance to do the mammogram, but now that breast cancer it's just widespread, I would suggest every lady, even not just your mammogram, your annual checkups, because not only is breast
Breast
cancer,
exam.
it's your breast exam. You have ovarian cancer, you have cervical cancer, you have all of those different kind of cancers. And so I would advise you to go to your doctor. If something is wrong, if you've been to your annual and something is wrong, go
Absolutely.
to the doctor. Do not sit on it and be like, okay, well, that's nothing. That may be something I ate or that. Don't do it because I'm telling you, you do not want to be you do not want to be diagnosed with cancer, any type of cancer, any type of sickness, diabetes, all of that kind of stuff is harmful
Mm-hmm.
for your body. But I do say that if by chance you do have to go through it, uh, trust God and keep the faith and never give up and always rely on your support because there are people out there that we don't think that love us, but they do. And they'll do all they can to make sure that this journey is easy. And so I would suggest that, like I said, everybody go get yourself checked. Um, because there's so much out there. And this food that we eat, I had to my my eating plan to change all the way, but I do watch what I eat uh this stuff that we eat, is fried food, this chicken and all the stuff that we eat is deteriorating our bodies. And so exercise, and I used to try to do that. It's just so funny because before I got sick, I had walked 96 miles that month that I found out that I was pregnant. I was doing girl trick and I had to
Mm-hmm.
slow down, but I was just, please get checked. Please go to the doctor. Whatever it is that would be my advice to the women, young and old. Because you're never
Yeah.
too young. I know people that are younger than I am. I'm 38 now, but I know people that are younger than I am that are being diagnosed and are leaving here. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be my advice to all people, all ladies,
Well, thank
even me.
you.
Even let me
Yeah.
say something about the men, because I have a lady that did a wig for me, and she was talking about it meant a lot to her to do things for people who have alopecia, after going through chemo, and she said that her father died of breast cancer. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not only women, it's men also.
I
But
know, I definitely know a male that has passed away from breast cancer as well.
mhm,
It's rare, but it happens. I think it's about 1% of men
mhm, mhm,
develop breast cancer as well. So definitely, and there are men that can be high risk as well. So if
right,
you have same things that apply to women, like if your mom, a
mhm,
sister, or someone in your family has had breast cancer, that puts you in that high risk category. You could possibly
right,
have the breast cancer gene. So, men, be aware of what's going on with the women around you as well, because that is
right,
how you are going to better protect yourself, also.
mhm, mhm,
And just like Tink said, I want everybody to know the importance of getting those yearly pelvic exams and those pap smears, and those, because when you go, you're also getting a breast exam. You're
right,
not getting a
right.
full mammogram, but the doctor is also doing a breast exam on you where they're checking for lumps and things like that. So just listening to your body. Nobody knows what's going on with your body better than you. And again,
Mhm.
like Tink said, if you feel something is off, if something is wrong, I don't care what a doctor says to you. If they say nothing is wrong, you
Right.
advocate,
Keep
you speak
going.
up for
Mhm.
yourself. And if they won't do anything, you go get a second opinion. Your
That's
doctor
right.
isn't the only doctor in the world. I say that all the time, but they are not. There are other doctors out there that will listen and that will help you. And
That's right.
so don't ever stop speaking up for yourself.
That's right. And also, one more thing I wanted to say. A lot of people say it's hereditary, and it is, but
Mm-hmm.
they have
I
a
was going to say that.
test, the BRAC test, I think it's called, where you can it determines your history in your family and whether your children will develop that type of cancer. But I only had one person in my family, and she was of my first cousin that had breast cancer, and my
So not
grandmother
even.
had. No, my mother, sister, no brother. My grandmother, on my maternal grandmother had colon and lung cancer, but as far as it being hereditary in my family, it wasn't. And so it's. I mean, it doesn't matter about it being hereditary now. Used to it did, but
Right.
now it just hits you. So
Yeah. And so I think that's important too, because there are people like myself who are of average risk, and we don't have anybody that's close to us. And based on your story, we are still at risk, average risk,
yes,
high risk in these days. And like you said, with the food and things that we're eating, like we are at risk regardless of whether we're high risk, average risk, or whatnot. So yes, I agree.
mm-hmm. It's called. I think it's called this a BRAC test, but it's like a genetic testing that they do now.
Mm-hmm.
hmm It's just like they
Okay.
take your blood.
All right. Well, anything else?
No, I thank you for this opportunity, because I don't mind. I'm very transparent with my story, not for sympathy, not for attention, but to help somebody. Being as young as I am and going through what I've been through, just to help somebody. And I just thank you for allowing me the opportunity. I thank everybody who's ever said a prayer for me. I thank everybody who has ever thought of me during this journey, during this battle, and I just ask that you all will continue to pray that one day, I'll be able to say cancer free and it'll be gone and won't come back. They give you a 5-year survival rate, but I don't listen to that. It's been 3 years, and so I'm just gonna keep on going with what I got. And I just appreciate everybody, pain for ting, everybody.
Well, thank you so much, Tink. I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate you doing this. I receive your thank you as well. That's what L.Hollins Speaks is all about. Really, just trying to spread the word about women's health. And so, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you ever need anything, let me know. And if you want to do this again, if you have more that you want to share in the future, we could set that up as well.
All right. I appreciate it, Lashonda. Hometown.
Thank you. Thank you, hometown. See you later, girl.
All right.
Tell your
You have a
mom I
blessed
said
night.
hey.
I will. Thank you. She's watching.
All right.
Have a
Bye.
good night. Bye bye.